and now they meet. So this was one of the aspects of Garden the Witch that I think a lot of people saw, inevitable. I think it's just one of those things that are inevitable. It was just a question of when it happens. We got the introduction of this dude Jen in the last chapter, who seems to be like he's going to be the rival character for Fafnir, which it seems like it's going to be pretty nice so far. We don't have like obviously a lot for either of the characters, but we're only 4 chapters in. But we can, just see, Fafnir is a lot more serious. He's a lot more calm and collected kind of guy. He has this kind of, I want to say like business mentality. He wants to get things done. He wants to get things like accomplished. And he seems to carry a lot of this weight like in his mind, like solely on his shoulders. It's a very interesting way to kind of like build him up at the start. Whereas Gen seems to be, Jen. I don't know if it's Gen or Jen. I've been going with Jen. But it seems like with him, he's more of like this high energy, like doesn't take things too seriously kind of guy. A little bit more playful, not like as a fun kind of way. More of like he's not understanding the weight of what's going on. And I mean that's probably going to be the thing that really screws him over because he seems strong, but I'm guessing that his conviction isn't as heavy as Fafnir's, and it's that mindset that will be what really wins Fafnir the fight. Which then you have something to really kind of like build off and drive with this other character once maybe he joins up with them or goes back to figure out how he lost. Maybe like evolve and advance himself. Very intriguing stuff. And then we can also hopefully get build up for Fafnir being able to have like magic buffs later on in the series through Manasva, but we'll see. Anyway, chapter starts out. They got to this village. They're on their way to the one where was it Noir, where they're trying to find a witch who was retired to find any information they can over possibly being able to stunt or erase the evil seed that is within Manasva. Immediately Manasva like falls down, like rolls right down this hill and into the village. And when they get there, they're confronted by all these people. They're confronted by the the citizens of this village who seem a little nervous, seem a little bit ready. And here comes the elder guy who throws a bunch of like flower petals up in the air, and they ended up welcoming them, being all nice. They give a bunch of food. It's a lot of very kind hospitality. Everyone gets to relax and get comfortable, which is nice. You can see that there was definitely some tension built up, at least on their part, not sure what exactly was going to go on. And here they got to have more of a relaxing time, and especially after like the first few chapters were you can tell they're very like high energy, high roughness, because it's not like it was like super dark, everything was trying to kill them and stuff, but obviously like fleeing your city state and becoming a traitor to them. And then having to like live out in the world where there's monsters that hidden around multiple corners and whatnot. I can see it being a little bit somewhat stressful, but he's actually confronted. Fafnir is confronted by the elder of the village, who actually got a newspaper showing that these guys were traitors, but he wanted to assess them himself. And he says that he can see he can judge things just by looking at them of whether they are, I want to say, like, not good or evil, but, like, peaceful or hostile, maybe, problematic or safe. And he's saying how the one he went up and showed them earlier, it was going to go one of two ways. If he throws the flower petals, it's like an all good sign, and the people of the village would treat, the visitors with great hospitality, very nice to them, because he says that's kind of like a hobby he has, is just helping people that have bright futures, treating them very well and helping them along their journey. But if he raised his cane, it was like, all right, everybody, let's beat the hell out of him. Which I'm wondering if it went that way, like how they would really hold up against Jen, or not Jen, against Fafnir, and then maybe later it'll be used against Jen, because we know Fafnir is very skilled. So unless they in this village have another really skilled character, Fafnir will probably give him the hands. Well, I guess in his case, the sword and sheath. But either way, that was I did think that's interesting. I guess just messing that up, but in the idea of it is maybe that will come into play with Jen during like at some point with the fight. But Fafnir having actually a really good character moment, even in this, only 4 chapters in, when he's like, he calls me a good person. I couldn't save my family. I thought about killing Monosfer for a short period of time. Am I actually good for that? Like, what does this really do for me? And he's like, listen, I don't have time to really think about that. I don't have time to really kind of get down on myself. What I need to do is stay on the job, keep Monosfa and Nada safe, and continue to, this goal of helping construct a world where they don't rely on witches and they don't have to fear evils. It's nice. We don't have to grieve or feel pain because of magic anymore. Which the way he sees it again is very interesting. Of how it's like, magic is just kind of like solely, like being solely dependent on the witches just has made them all weaker as people, which I can get. But then right after that, you have Jen show up. He shows up with like this sick guillotine, which I really thought was a very interesting weapon choice. Like he's got this big ass metal guillotine. He's just gonna lunge at him and try and just bisect him, but that's gonna get blocked by Fafnir, who we know Fafnir obviously very skilled, and the girl Ruli, she's like coming in with like magic support. She's able to further cast spells through Jen, which is kind of the thing that I've been. Obviously, we saw in the last chapter when contemplating. My question is whether or not he can use magic without her with contact or being close vicinity, because like I've mentioned, like maybe there's glyphs or rings, as we saw like a magic ring in the first chapter. So it's something that is a possibility that I'm very curious about, because it's always fun to like figure out how like powers and stuff works whenever we get a new series. But he's obviously here to kill him, capture back the witch. But Fafnir's not going to let that happen. And then they end up seeing like Monospa, and they're like, all right, cool, there's our target, let's go. And Fafnir's just like, you guys are not getting past me. This is not going to go well for you. And I'm looking forward to seeing him brawl with them, and maybe set up him getting to use a spell getting used through him by Monospa, and having that same kind of teamwork, which would be really cool. You got like you got a fighter and a buff character, buff / kind of like ranged caster. But it's going to be really neat when you see characters later, and you get this really cool synergy from each team. It'll remind me of Zatch Bell, if so. But other than that, comment below. I'm looking forward to this next one. I'm curious to see how Fafnir and them contend. I think Fafnir is stronger. We're still pretty early in the series. We know he's very powerful. We don't know his extent yet until you see until you see the main character is like full 100%. He's probably going to be beating up a lot of people, having a lot of exposition fights just to show off their skills and their level. And then once you get that having to overcome their limits is when you're going to get the big fights. Anyway, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this chapter. Tell me your thoughts about this series so far. I really like it. I think it's a lot of fun. And I really appreciate if you thumbs up the video, friend the like button, and subscribe button, like I said. And check out my other videos. But I appreciate everyone's already subscribed. And thank you all for listening. Bye.